Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on the program, President Bongbong Marcos drops hints on the locations of the 4 enhanced defense cooperation agreement sites between the Philippines and the United States. A local chief executive now open to set up a military base in his province. Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba joins us in the show. And later, teachers assisting in the upcoming barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections will get a raise in honoraria. Commission on Elections Chairman George Garcia tells us more. The Philippines and the United States have identified the locations for the 4 new Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA sites in the country. President Bongbong Marcos says it will be scattered across the country. The two nations are set to announce the exact locations after further discussions.
There are some in the north, there are some around Palawan, there are some further south. So, iba-iba talaga.
Let's now go straight to the source of the story, Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba. Good morning, Governor.
Yeah, good morning, Mai, and good morning to all our televiewers.
So, Governor, Defense Chief Carlito Galvez said this week that you are now okay to build an EDCA site in Cagayan. You were previously opposing this, so what changed?
The truth is, we talked in the presence of former General Damian, one of my consultants, and Assistant Secretary General Paul Lorenzo. And well, we talked, and I told him that this is not my call, this is the President's call, since they have already decided. I said I will continue my opposition to any foreign forces stationed in my province and any EDCA site stationed in my province. But since this is the President's call, of course, I succumb to that, but I do not agree with it and continue my opposition in this endeavor.
Mm-hmm. So you are still going to oppose this endeavor?
Yes. It is basically because I feel that it is inimical to the interests of my province. We've been trying to reconnect to our neighbors because we're trying to open our port of Pari and have economic exchanges with them, including that of tourism. We're trying to build also an international airport in Cagayan. We do not have one, commercial, so that we could have also Chinese tourism. And as you see, our province close to the world about 28, 30 years ago, when the port of Apari had no more traffic because of the siltation of the mouth of the river. We have started dredging that, mainly to, of course, mitigate our flooding and also open the port and maybe make it navigable. And along that line, we will be having some exchanges with our neighbors. You know, when China opened up to the world in 1980s, we closed to the world. And that is why it is now time to correct the wrongs in the past. No? And by doing this, we feel that we have a lot of opportunities in the future on our tourism and our exchanges. You know, we do not have economic and trade, international trade, because the port has closed. The port of Sesa is not serving its purpose. Mm-hmm. Big ships could not enter. The biggest ship that could enter that is about 10,000 tonnage. And so these are very small ships. This is also the reason why the 3 big oil depots in Apari, namely Esso, now Petron, Caltex, and Shell have closed years back because of the siltation of the river. And so we see a lot of potential with China being the biggest market that we have. Furthermore, now we know that any foreign troop would be an invitation of attack. We have seen how Pearl Harbor, no, in history, no, Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese because, of course, they did want conquerors coming into Asia, and they attacked Pearl Harbor. And 10 hours after that, they attacked Manila or the Philippines. Why? Because the Americans were also here in Subic and in Clark. And this is the very reason from and our lessons from history that we do not want EDCA sites and foreign troops stationed in our province.
Governor, going back, let's go back to when this EDCA site was first proposed. How many consultations were made regarding these EDCA sites, and how were they trying to convince you to agree to this?
Well, it has a longer history than that. No? Before the pandemic, they did a Balikatan exercise here. No? And I welcome it because they said it is for interoperability in humanitarian and rescue operations. And so Americans came over here. I welcome them, and these are reserve officers of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. These are just reserve officers. After the pandemic, there was a proposal, and I was asked under the Duterte administration if I have the imprimatur for them again to do the Balikatan exercises. The first time they had one, I was never consulted. They just came in, and I welcomed them. The second time, they were trying to get my imprimatur, and so I saw the design, and there was this live fire. They call it live fire. What's this live fire? This is the testing of all their armaments in my place, in my province. So I said, I do not like this. You could do all types of exercises except this, because this might have some effects on our relation with our neighbors. Because I saw the fact that Taiwan is a pocket that could burst any time, and I didn't want to have anything that could create animosity between us and my neighbors. And that is why I did that. So I was able to get a PPOC resolution opposing the live fire and RPOC resolution opposing the live fire. And so the Americans came here, and they were they said that they were as if they were telling me that I am talking with the Chinese. Never did I told them, never did I have talked with any Chinese official. This is my own decision as the father of the province, and I see what is coming. And that is why I do not want any animosity between the two of us.
So, Governor.
And now here comes EDCA. No, I just learned EDCA through news, media, no formal consultation, no formal letter, nothing at all. Oh, but I was interviewed by so many media, including international media, and I said my piece that I'm opposing this. And so after that, Assistant Secretary Lorenzo contacted me on, I think, on the advice or on the instructions of the Secretary, that the Secretary also wants to talk to me about this. And I said, you know this, Assistant Secretary, because you were once my consultant, no? In our quest of reopening the port and, of course, reopening international trade into the province of Cagayan. And so he said, okay, I will go to him instead of the Secretary coming to us. So I went to him. So that's how it started.
So, Governor, let us just clarify. Earlier you were saying, were there accusations that you were favoring China, or you were talking to China, and who was this accusing you?
Yeah. I felt that was the, because I also took a chance, of renewing, because our visa, to the United States of America, me, my 13-year-old son, and my wife, nagpasok, yung aming mga visa during the pandemic. And so we asked if we could also renew the same. I was surprised we were denied, including my 13-year-old son. And I felt that was, I don't know, was Because I told they came to me here in Cagayan, the political officer of the U.S. Embassy, an economic attaché, and three colonels, two from the from their Air Force and one from the Marines. And I told them, about my stand. And I even told them that I think nobody could stop China in securing the lanes, the sea lanes. China has the capacity to secure the lanes now. And the sea lanes is a matter of survival, I told them. The sea lanes is the lanes where most of their food, imported food, passes. The fuel passes. And that is why if this is closed, just like what happened in World War II, when there was starvation in Hong Kong, where people died of starvation in Hong Kong, we would never let that happen. And of course, if their fuel is closed, because that's where the imported fuel passes by, their factory would close. So this is a matter of survival. They'd rather go to war than die of starvation. And the raw materials also pass through that. And so I said, not even the United States of America can stop that. Mm-hmm. That's the context of somebody who also knows geopolitics. And so I said all of these things. Akala siguro nila, I am siding with the Chinese.
Yes.
And again, history will teach us that the presence of any foreign country here, foreign forces here, especially the United States of America, they were our conquerors then. Iniwanan lang tayo dahil tinanggal na natin sila.
Governor, let's go back to the consultations for the EDCA sites. Would you know how many EDCA sites will be built in Cagayan and where exactly? And was it explained to you, aside from they said humanitarian or rescue purposes, what other purpose would this be for?
Well, I was told, they requested to me that nothing of this nature, things that we discussed should be announced by me, since he came out with something that I did agree on because I did not drop my opposition. Yeah, they identified two sites in Cagayan, but I am not at liberty. I want to keep my word. I'm not at liberty because, according to them, it will be the president who will announce this, because the president has already. Because I was also insisting on the Senate proposed bills of President Amy herself, yung self-reliant defense program. I think that is the best that we could do for our armed forces in the Philippines. Just like any other country, especially Vietnam, they capacitate themselves by themselves. And these are the things. And I even told them that I am supportive of the president's call because, I was also a member of the cabinet of President Noynoy Aquino. And during this time, this was also discussed in 2014, and we voted on it between a bilateral approach and a multilateral approach. The multilateral approach won, that's why we took that route, but it is not acceptable apparently to China. And the president, I said, made a very bold move. I mean, President Bongbong Marcos, of continuously, the first agreement that he had signed by both of them, President Xi Jinping and himself, our president, that there should be continuous dialogue on maritime disputes. And I think this is the best way to solve our problem if we only talk of the maritime disputes. But apparently this is something different. It is something preparing us for war.
Governor, very quickly, because
we are not prepared for war. We don't want to be the frontliners in a war we do not have any advantage. So,
sorry to interrupt, Governor, but we only have a minute left in this discussion.
Yes.
Very quickly, what is your final position on this, given that you said you will oppose, or you oppose, the building of an EDCA site in Cagayan? What will be your next move now? Would you still continue to speak up on or block the EDCA plans, or will you obey the president's orders?
I do not have the capacity to block that. But I will die with my position. Kill me with my position. I'll tell you this very frankly. I believe that this is not, no, this is not. I hope and pray that I am wrong. I hope and pray and I'm wrong. I pray to God that I am wrong in my assumptions because I do not believe China will ever attack us. I do not believe that China will ever conquer us, just like America or Spain for that matter. You know, Japan only attacked us because the Americans were here. They are our neighbors. I know we could live with them peacefully. I know we could have exchanges with them peacefully. This is my assumption. No? It is based on what happened in the past. And so I still believe in it and die with it. And so for me to change my position here, just like dying, I will live with this position. And I hope, pray to God that I am wrong in my assumptions.
Right. You have made your position very clear. Governor, thank you for joining us this morning. Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba. We will be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned.